We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Families have a lot going on. Let Ollie help manage the mental load with new cognitive help supplements for everyone 4 and up, like delicious Lolly Focus Pops or Lolly Mellow Pops for kids. And for parents, try 3 new Brainy Chews to help you focus, chill out, or get energized. Find these cognitive health buddies for the whole fam at ollie.com. That's OLLY.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 2186. Not a priority in his life? How to Turn It Around, by Melissa Audrey with melissathelovecoach.com. Hello, everybody, and thanks a lot for joining today here on ORD. I'm your host and narrator, Greg Audino, and today I'll be sharing a post from melissathelovecoach.com, the advice column section of the website. However, even though the author's name is Melissa, this is actually a guest post. Melissa Josu, the site's owner and author, has brought in love and relationship coach Melissa Audrey to help out with this reader question. So let's get into it now as we optimize your life. Not a priority in his life? How to Turn It Around, by Melissa Audrey with melissathelovecoach.com. Dear Melissa, I've been dating a divorced dad for a little over 3 months. We live 45 minutes away from each other. He has 50-50 custody of his kids, 11 and 14. I have full custody of mine, 16 and 22. Since he got 50-50, we went from seeing each other 3 to 5 times a month to 2 times, and so far, no weekend availability now. I do not have an issue with his time with his kids. It's the other time gaps. I'm not sure why I'm not more of a priority. We talk about my need for more, but I don't know if my need is realistic or not. I get depressed the day after we see each other, as I know it will be a couple of weeks before we see each other again. I don't want to feel like this in the relationship. We care deeply for each other, and that is evident. We want to spend more time together, but he's busy. I don't want to resent him for keeping space for him when he cannot for me. I've already talked to him, worked with a counselor, done meditation and self-help webinars. I want to be able to incorporate each other into our lives more. I would like to see us have more time for each other. I want to be not so insecure about where this relationship is or is not going. Will this relationship survive? And how? Will I ever be more of a priority to him? Confused in the Mountains. Dear Confused in the Mountains, thanks so much for writing in and sharing your story. You've been dating a divorced dad for a little over 3 months and feel that you need to see him more. Since this man recently got 50-50 custody of his kids, you've experienced a significant reduction in the amount of times you see each other monthly, and you now feel as though you're not a priority and you're wondering why. Here is the non-sugar-coated truth. Men, even the busiest men who are CEOs, can make the time for what they value outside of work. If this man isn't seeing you more, it's because he doesn't want to. When a man really wants to see a woman, absolutely nothing will stop him. You mentioned that he has 50-50 custody of his kids. Assuming that he has a full-time job, that means that he definitely has some free time when he's not with his kids. You wrote that he hasn't been available on weekends since he's gotten 50-50 custody. He's definitely spending his time doing stuff on the weekends when he doesn't have his kids. You have full custody of your kids, yet you've been able to make time to see him. If you're able to make this time despite having full-time custody, then he should also be able to make time. The math doesn't add up. It's common for men to stop spending as much time with a woman at around the 3-month mark, because that's when things start to get real. Most men know by that time whether the woman is a keeper or just a placeholder. You mentioned talking to him about your need for more time together. Sadly, this hasn't resulted in any change. Women are great at talking and expressing. If this worked in love and relationships, most relationships would be in top shape. Telling a man that what he's giving us isn't enough does not endear him to us because it makes him wrong. It tells him he's not pleasing us and that he's not winning. A man has a strong desire to win in his daily life. When a man is with a woman, he wants to feel good in her presence. He wants to feel elevated and that his life increases in quality when he's in her company. A dating man doesn't want to feel obligated or duty-bound to a woman. He has enough obligations with work and family. I'm not saying that your needs don't matter, because they do. You are or should be the most important person in your life. The great news is that it is possible to stop enduring this situation and completely turn it around to get the love and attention you desire. I would never suggest that you change the core of who you are or change your essence. Not at all. I'm suggesting that you change your approach. My first suggestion is that you cease all relationship talk until the man brings it up. This means no hinting, no inferring, and no suggesting that your needs aren't being met. That alone will lighten up the energy in the time you spend together. Right now, focus on being present when you're with him. Focus on what feels good, and drop your expectations. You wrote about feeling depressed the day after seeing him. I feel your pain. I really do, because I've been there, and I know how yucky it feels. I know from personal experience and from working with other women that this depressed feeling gets worse as time goes by. But it doesn't have to be this way. Fire up the action taker inside of you and use it to change your personal energy and dissipate the depressing aura. You can do this by focusing on your own life and making it full and juicy, independently of what the man in your life is doing. What are your interests? What have you always wanted to do? Is there a hobby or a passion project that you want to start? Is there an old hobby that you used to have but you let go of, but it still interests you? By reviving old interests or starting new ones, you can marvelously shift your vibe. This is a win on two levels. First, igniting your interaction taker and focusing on something about your interests will help shift your focus from the man onto yourself. This will make you feel good and make you feel like you are winning. Second, this will also help you create or increase attraction with this man or other men. Healthy men love women who are happy and are passionate about their interests. They love women who are leading full and meaningful lives, separate from the relationship. Men like to feel that they're not responsible for making you happy. It makes them feel free, and they're drawn to the glow you have when you're happy doing your own thing. My last suggestion is that you find a coach to work with who can teach you to use your innate feminine powers to attract men effortlessly, and how to express your needs using feminine communication principles. These principles are magical for asking for what you desire in a non-pushy, grabby, and demanding way. You just listened to the post titled, "Not a Priority in His Life? How to Turn It Around," by Melissa Audrey with melissathelovecoach.com. And be sure to stick around for my comments in just a minute.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
what will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Look, Bumble knows you're exhausted by dating. All the must not take yourself too seriously and 6'1" since that matters. And what do I even say other than hey? Well, that's why they're introducing an all-new Bumble with exciting features to make compatibility easier, starting the chat better, and dating safer. They've changed, so you don't have to. Download the new Bumble now.
Okay, and thanks so much to Melissa for this post. Though I'm not sure I'm entirely in agreement with all of her suggestions, especially this idea of the asker seeing her boyfriend but stopping relationship talk altogether until he brings it up. So to me, this feels like a form of deception and avoidance, and it isn't really a means of moving the relationship forward in an honest way so much as it is more of a band-aid solution. Surely it doesn't always have to be relationship talk all the time. I'm not suggesting that. But if this asker has unanswered questions and her partner doesn't naturally express his feelings, I'm not sure that this strategy will encourage him to start doing so. Rather, it seems that this whole exchange has focused on the asker expressing her needs, whereas we haven't heard much about what her partner wants. We've heard about what restrictions he has, but we haven't heard about his ideals. And this is a common breakdown in the communicative process. Speaking openly about what we want, but not necessarily working to make a compromise or help our partners express what they want. But if the asker is able to do this, it will help her partner feel that sense of significance that Melissa insists her man would be responsive to. It will also bring more honesty to the surface if he is directly asked about what his ideal amount of time spent together is. And that honesty will only progress the relationship faster, whether that means staying together or not. So with that, it's time to wrap things up for today, everybody. I thank you so much for tuning in and making this episode possible. I hope this article has helped you to consider communication more deeply, and I also hope you will return tomorrow for another post. That's where your optimal life awaits.